Hello there. Welcome to the inside again. In the last episode I was foraging outside and either it was raining out, rusting all my tools, or it was actually like 35 degrees out and literally turning my camera off from the heat. So we're going to take shelter inside today. For various projects I bought exactly 1 cow's worth of leather, and surprisingly cheaply. And I figured might as well try and use some of it today. So today we're going to be trying to make a cowboy hat. And try and make it as traditional as possible, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. Today we're going to be using a pattern because I don't know what I'm doing. So Tony C Patterns, I'll leave a link in the description. But I'm going to try and do some modifications, but not too big. So the base of the hat is going to be off this pattern. The first thing to do is cut this out into more manageable pieces so that we can actually work with this and not have to work with a whole hide of leather in one go. We got one piece out, now let me do the rest. We got all our pieces out now, so now the next step is to tape these down. And there's a bunch of these little marked out holes that we gotta punch. Now it's important that you get these right in the correct spot because the other parts of the pattern line up to these exactly. So the brim of the hat will kind of go right here and here. All right, so I got a little hammer here. We got a little punch. So I'm just gonna go around each dot and punch it out. We got our holes, we got a fresh new blade in here. Let's cut this out. This is middle part, and then we'll work on the brim. So we got this center bit done. So since it's pretty much all the same, let me just cut out and punch out the rest of these pieces. So we got all of the leather pieces cut out now, but how do I look? Hold on. So we got all our leather cut out, but the problem is I did 5 minutes of research and I realized something. I had this old leather I had, and I thought that's good. I can make an authentic leather hat with non-veg leather, which is good. For one thing, veg leather does not mean like fake vegan leather like I thought it does. It means like real vegetable tannins or something. And I got the manufactured stuff, which doesn't really allow you to steam it and shape it like a proper leather would. And second of all, I don't know if you knew this, but apparently hats aren't made of leather. I thought cowboy hats were made of leather, but they're made of felt. But they sometimes are like processed to look like leather or something. So we're gonna try and do our best here, but it's not gonna be a real authentic hat, but I think it'll turn out good. And the whole point was to use up this old leather anyway, so I think this will be good. So what you want to do on these edges here where we're sewing a lot of holes is to thin it out, and there's a specific tool that you can use to do it with a name, but I'm just going to use a knife because this is like the stuff they want you to use is for people that are going to do this more than once. So I think if I just take this knife and kind of cut out a bit of material, it should thin it out okay. There, we got some middling success with that. I think we removed enough material, but it's not exactly even or pretty. But kind of the whole point of this stitch is that we're gonna sew this and then hide all this stuff anyway. So it should be okay. So we pulled that first one through both holes. Now we just keep going back and forth. And I think you want to keep it alternating the same way. So you don't want to go like left, right, right, left, left, right, left, right. Which makes it more of an even stitch. So without the central lines done, so now the next step is to fold over these parts and have it as a kind of flat stitch. Now I think that will make it so that rather than having this kind of pointed shape here, this fold will still make it kind of smooth and rounded rather than that would be very pointy. Go. So now we got the rim of my hat, and this is kind of like the edge side of the hat, this part, but it's inside out right now because the next step is going to be to put this in also inside out like so, and then we flip it inside out, and then the leather side that's actually nice looking is now on the outside. So let's get to it. Just like that, we got ourselves a leather fez. But if we want to add a brim, there, and just like that, we got ourselves a leather fez. But if we add the brim, then we'll get a leather cowboy hat, which we're kind of going for. So the next step is going to be to take some of these straps. What I learned was, since this is leather, it's pretty heavy and not very stiff, like a felt. And we take this strip and we put it around the edge like so, one on each half, one in the front, one in the back. Then we'll put a bit of copper wire around the brim, and that'll hold up the brim from being too floppy, and it'll hold its shape. Well, the guy in the video said that that brim should have taken like a couple minutes, but it took me like 2 days on and off. Anyway, we're gonna work on a sweatband now. Now, they say to use deer hide or some weird stuff like that, but I'm just gonna use some good old-fashioned fabric for both the sweatband and the brim around the hat. So I got this black fabric that's gonna line it, and then I also got this filler kind of material that helps stiffen gives it more weight and stiffen the brim and the inside. So we're going to cut this out, sew it together. It should be pretty good. So here I got the inside liner, the cap part and the brim part. Basically I'm just kind of sewing through each layer, and then that should make a kind of hat, I guess. But not much. This is the last step. Once this is done, all the leather sewing part is done, then we can do some final touches. So I've sewn all the way around. Now we got this hat shape is basically done. We got this inside out kind of fabric. So now if we fold this in, now this is kind of like a liner on the inside of the hat. And yeah, the whole shape of the hat is done now. It's looking pretty good. I mean, there's a few rough spots, but overall I think the stitch work is pretty good. I like the back kind of, this stitch looks really cool. The brim, it's fairly adjustable, so I can kind of bend this up into more of a classic kind of curved edge cowboy hat. But yeah, I mean, the last thing I want to do is add a bit of a band, and also just to make it not be a whole video about sewing, I'm gonna do a metal buckle here, which is a bit of metal work. But yeah, it's looking pretty good, and it fits pretty good too. Now originally I was going to cut it out into an oval shape, but it's kind of in a happy accident turned into like a Canadian flag kind of waving kind of look. So I'm just going to leave it as is, but I'm going to put a curve into it so it kind of fits around the brim of the hat. So we got our little copper ornament kind of buckle thing on the front. And I also made up this little piece of fabric that will act as our band that will go kind of around the hat like so. This is basically just kind of identical to the inside with like a filler and a black outside. So I kind of just made it quickly off camera. But the idea is we kind of feed this through the holes and it kind of bunches up a little bit. All right, so we got this fed through. So this is what it's going to kind of look like, but we're going to sew these ends together so it's solid. And then, yeah, we're going to just fit it around the hat. There we go. So now we got our kind of ornamental band, and we just put this on the hat now. Hopefully it fits. There we go. Now we got a band right down the middle. So yeah, now the hat's completely finished, and I think it looks pretty dang good. With this new hat, I unlocked the howdy and well met traveler greeting. I think this new hat's a nice new addition to the things I've been randomly making recently. I really like it. It's pretty simple. I think it's pretty simple. Like, it's got stitches, it's got a band. The maple leaf I like. I don't know, this liner's pretty simple, but I mean, I think turned out pretty good for, like, other than this being the second kind of leather working thing I've ever done. Like the stitches, like look at the stitches here. Pretty clean. So yeah, I think with that, it's just about done, and I'll see you next time.